Welcome back, everyone, to a whole new episode of Inside Voices First Takes. I am Colin Binnick.
And I am still Adam Rubin.
Unfortunately, he is. And today, we are going to discuss what we've both just seen in the movie theaters, Logan Lucky.
You Logans mustn't be as simple-minded as people say.
People say that.
Adam, you just saw the movie. What are your first impressions?
First impressions were not what I expected. Not what I expected. I was surprised by the movie. What did you think?
What were you expecting going in?
Well, I mean, director of Ocean's 11, his own movie without any studio control, really, pretty much entirely independently done by him. I was expecting, at least from the trailer, which I know was cut by Bleecker Street and not by him, so, you know, I didn't necessarily think it was going to be exactly like the trailer, but I was expecting it to be a little bit punchier, a little bit faster paced, a little bit more upbeat with the comedy, and actually it was a slower, more methodical film than I was expecting. It was definitely funny, but the humor was very flat, I thought. The humor was very casual and very laid back. It was a much more relaxed film than I was expecting. I guess that is really what I'm trying to say. The pace was much slower and more casual than I thought. I thought it was going to be a little bit more wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
And so do you think in the end, did you like that? Did you dislike that?
I thought it worked. You know, I thought it was a little bit more country. I was expecting a little more rock and roll, but it was a country story and they kind of took it at a country speed. So no, it didn't bother me. I just was surprised. That's all. But I thought it was very consistent throughout, and I thought that pace really worked for it. You know, I mean, that felt to me like the mood of the film. I thought it fit very well.
Well, I completely agree with you on the country feel. It is very much a Southern or specifically a West Virginia version of Ocean's 11. It is absolutely that. There's no ifs, ands, or buffs about it. It totally committed to that, just that type of film. And I wasn't expecting anything else going into it, though. I kind of knew it was going to be a little bit more of a hillbilly take, just a little bit more run down, a little bit more dirtier, grimier, not like the polished, glamorized version the Ocean's trilogy gave us in Vegas. You know, that looked beautiful. You got George Clooney looking like, you know, vintage George Clooney, Brad Pitt, everyone wearing the nice suits. And this movie is just like a whole 360 from that, just in terms of the characters and the setting and just the type of crime they're trying to do. It's very gritty. You know, they're literally in a cave, but covered trying to get do their crime. Anything else going into it? I don't know if I agree with you on the humor. I thought the humor, I didn't think it was flat, because a lot of it was still very funny to me. So what do you mean by it was a flat humor?
All right, I'll take back the word flat. I don't mean that the jokes fell flat. I just mean that it was very laid back. You know, it wasn't driving punchlines. Characters would just say the words. Wouldn't change their level, wouldn't change their pitch. You know, joke, what do you think? All right, joke, move on. You know, if you caught it, great, you laugh. If you didn't catch it, the movie didn't really care, move on. It wasn't a big setup, punchline, pause, wait for a laugh, then the next one, which is how I definitely think the Ocean's 11's movies are. They're very much like Brad Pitt for a joke, Brad Pitt delivers the joke, George Clooney considers, and then gives you time to laugh, and then they move on. There's a little bit more punctuation to each of the jokes. In this movie, it just rolls along, rambles along. You get some of them, you don't get some of them. He doesn't really care. Keeps moving.
So you would say like Logan Lucky it's purposely not trying to be funny. It's just funny almost in passing because of just the random things they're making, but they're not trying to give you the joke, with the punchline.
I mean, no, they're structurally they are giving you the joke. I guess I just mean that the pacing of the movie isn't built around the joke. The movie is chugging along, laying down jokes as they go. And if you get them, great. If you don't get them, no worries. But the jokes are much drier in this than in Ocean's 11. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Almost all the jokes are very, very dry sense of humor in this movie.
You know what? Okay.
Even if you don't get a single joke, the movie doesn't really care, and the movie doesn't really change for you.
You know what? I'll agree with that. I was going to disagree in terms of them not trying to be funny. I think they're very purposely trying to be funny a lot of the time. But I will agree with you. The jokes are a lot less obvious a lot of the time, and therefore are just a little bit more drier and a little bit more, kind of under the surface. That if you get it, then it's pretty funny, but it's not completely obvious. I'll agree with that.
It's more of a, it's a chuckling movie. I found myself sort of going, sort of laughing to myself as I went along, but there wasn't a lot of coordinated laughter in the theater like there is in Ocean's 11. Big setup, big punchline. The movie waits. Everybody knows they're supposed to laugh. Everybody laughs, and then the movie moves on. This movie, sometimes I would be chuckling. Sometimes, the person next to me would be chuckling, and I wouldn't have gotten the joke. It's a much drier sense of humor in the movie, which again, I think really worked because that was the kind of movie that this was supposed to be.
I'll absolutely agree with that. It is a chuckling movie for sure. There are a few, I think, purposeful laugh out loud moments, but for the most part, you hit the nail on the head. I agree.
I think this is the kind of movie that upon second and third viewings is going to get funnier and funnier.
Oh yeah. Oh, I agree with that too. You could probably catch things you catch the first time you saw it, or yeah, for sure. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, it's dense. So before we get into too many of the details of it, would you say you recommend it? Should we see it? Should we not see it?
I will give it a yes. I think it is worth seeing. I have a few which we'll discuss late in the spoiler section, but overall, it is a well-made movie. It is very competent. Steven Soderbergh knows what he's doing. The cast is pretty charming, and yeah.
All right, and I'm going to agree. I'm going to definitely say go see it. Honestly, you should see it just for the little girl who plays the main character's daughter. What's his name?
Channing Tatum?
That's right. The girl who plays Channing Tatum's daughter. I don't know where they got this girl. She is the cutest girl ever. She steals the whole movie, I think. Every scene she's in, she definitely steals that scene.
It's pretty adorable. Pretty adorable.
Charming, beyond charming movie just for the scenes that Channing has with his daughter. So definitely go see it. Casual movie. I think it'd make a good date movie. Chuckle along, everybody leave in a good mood. There's enough going on in it that there's stuff to talk about afterwards. Very solid. Very solid. All right. So for those of you who are going to take our recommendation, pause here, go see the film, and this is the most important part, come back after you've seen the film and finish out the rest of this video. YouTube knows if you don't come back. So you got to come back. Right. So now, that's right. YouTube always knows. So spoiler time. Let's get into it. You have some issues? Lay them on me.
Well, I mean, so like I said, it's very obvious this movie is influenced, not just because it's the same director, but this movie is so much an Ocean's 11 movie, but a little bit more rundown version of it, a little bit more less glitz and glamour.
As they say in the movies, a hillbilly heist. Yeah.
Unfortunately for me, as much as I like, them obviously, emulating Ocean's 11 because I love that movie and I love the franchise as a whole in general. Mm-hmm. It came to a point where they kept hitting too many beats from Ocean's 11, where unfortunately I can't it doesn't separate itself for me well enough from that movie. I'll always think of Logan Lucky as in the shadow of Ocean's 11 because it was doing so many of the same similar beats or similar gags. Mm-hmm. Wasn't enough almost of its own thing.
Do you have an example of one that particularly stands out to you?
I have two examples.
Yeah.
So the scene when Daniel Craig, and before I go any further, the fact that we got a West Virginia accent from Daniel Craig, that character was just the most glorious thing he's ever played besides James Bond. I did not know I needed this character from him. I did not know I needed a West Virginia Daniel Craig in my life, but boy, do I need one all the time now. Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. He was the best character in that whole movie. Do we agree on that?
No, I think his Channing Tatum's daughter is the best character in the movie.
Oh, that's right. You already talked about that. Well,
he's a close second. He's very good. I mean, he's very good. He's very fun to watch.
The fact that even
his accent slips in and out, it doesn't matter. He's very fun.
The fact that he even tries that accent, and it's God, it's so worth it.
It really is. It's totally worth it.
So, but anyway, the scene involves him where he's making the the makeshift bomb with the gummy worms.
Right.
And the tube is gonna put the tube and it's gonna like ignite or something because of oxygen or something like that.
Right.
And he does that, goes in the tube, and then nothing happens.
Mhm.
They're all waiting, nothing happens, and then the tube comes back and like, oh wait, I screwed up. I tied it too much. Not enough air is going in. Okay, let me try it again. And then it works.
Mhm.
That is literally the same thing as when George Clooney is trying to detonate the bomb and the batteries are out. And what? Did you check the batteries? Oh, I screwed up. Oh, let me put that. I literally was like, you're copying yourself with this moment. It was so obvious. Yeah.
And I definitely agree. Although actually, I liked this version better because I like the fact that it shot it back at the brother, like almost smashed right into him, and then they have to do like a bomb defusal to even get to that point. So they upped it. I mean, it definitely was a callback. Definitely followed the same formula. But I like that they took it to the next level.
No, it was still well done, and it was still hilarious. Like you said, like the brother's like, oh god, and Daniel Craig's like he thinks it's gonna be like a really technical thing. He's just like, oh no, I just twisted the bag too much. Like, that's really funny. But I'm just like, oh, this is it's too much. I was like, Ocean's 11. You're relying too much on that movie. I'm relying too much knowing about that movie to understand the joke right here as well. So I just thought, you didn't have to, rely on that so much. And then the other thing regarding the whole heist itself, how they pulled it off. Almost kind of like, this isn't quite the same as Ocean's 11, but it's similar. Where like Ocean's had a diversion where they had the truck go to the airport, and it was like fake. Instead, it's not real money, but it was fake money with all the bags, and then they actually had the real money. And they carried it out. Whereas this one, they had the real money, but they left it behind at the gas station. But we find out that's a diversion because they got some other bags separately, and that's the actual loot that they stole. So again, it kind of like the whole same thing, misdirection of, oh, here's the money, you think. But then the real money is over here the whole time, and there's a whole flashback scene for how you didn't see it coming or all like that. So it wasn't like I don't like dislike the movie.
That's most heist movies. But
Steven Soderbergh even filmed it almost exactly the same. Where we had an entire flashback scene, just like the entire flashback of the SWAT team in Oceans going in and getting it was almost frame by frame the exact same structure.
That's true. That's definitely true.
Switch it up a little bit, I thought.
That's definitely true. But I thought that the payoff actually was better in this movie than in Ocean's 11. In Ocean's 11, which I love Ocean's 11. I love the whole thing. But the payoff there is really just for the audience and the satisfaction of ooh, they got away with it. They stuck it to that casino owner who we also hate. For, I don't know, just because he's not George Clooney and we like George Clooney and he's George Clooney's rival. In this one, I like the fact that they set up the fact that these two brothers are supposed to be idiots. Like, people think they're idiots and they're really surprised and offended that people think they're idiots.
Well, that's
which is played for a joke, but then we find out the payoff in this one is, oh, no, they're not. Actually, they really thoroughly and cleverly thought through this whole thing.
Well, I would say, Daniel Craig does say that, you are idiots, and they're like, we are, or something like that. I didn't think they were idiots. But they're supposed to be unlucky, which is the funny thing with the title. They're supposedly this family is riddled with bad luck.
Yeah.
Because Tatum was a football player, but then he hurt himself, and then the brother was a soldier, and then he lost his arm in the war. But aside from those moments, and I know they name dropped some others, but I didn't really get as much. If they were supposed to show this family as bad luck, I didn't think they did as good a job, really, really showing you how much bad luck this family has. Because remember, the sister who's in the movie doesn't seem to have any bad luck at all. She has a normal job as a hairdresser. She's got a nice car. She doesn't seem part of this family curse at all. So it's just the two brothers.
She steals a nice car. She has an okay car as her actual car. She steals a car for that.
I'm saying she doesn't really seem down on her luck like the other two members of her family.
Your point's well taken. And I think the movie makes a big deal of the fact that only one of the brothers actually is into the idea that the family is unlucky. That's sort of his pet theory.
Well, but we're all supposed to buy it too, because that's the whole point of the title. This whole family is unlucky, and the brother name drops at the bar, all the other members of the family being unlucky too. And I'm just like, well, this would be a good moment to show. Don't tell me, I want to. If you're going to be invested with these two characters, don't just name drop all these things that happen. Show me what happened. Let me get more emotionally attached. That's the other thing I thought Ocean did better. I thought we got just a little bit more time with George, with Brad, and all the other members of the team before we actually even got to the heist. Whereas this one, it didn't seem like we got to spend as much time with the brothers before they were already starting to, cauliflower their plan. I thought they could have taken a little more time, showing the family history or showing them down on their luck a little bit before they commit to this heist. And then therefore I would have been as satisfied as you in the payoff when they pull it off. But that's just me.
And that's fair. That's a fair critique.
Okay.
For me, it's enough that I thought they played very cleverly on the way they cut the trailer and the average audience's expectations, that because the guys talk slow and talk very simply, that they're simple-minded.
Yeah.
Which is certainly what Daniel Craig thinks. And then ultimately the payoff is, and the whole time we're watching the plan, it's a dirt simple plan.
Yeah.
Blow the thing up, vacuum up the money, escape with the money without getting caught in just garbage bag. Like, it couldn't be simpler. And then to go back and find out, oh, actually, it was a much more clever plan than that, because they knew how they were going to get away with it.
Yeah, there were like 3 other levels that they already planned out, but we didn't know.
Right.
That's what the flashback
That I liked, actually. I thought that was a nice take on it, that, oh, they're not as dumb as we thought they were and the other characters thought they were. It wasn't just grab the money and run. They actually, that the fact that he had a list, the fact that he seemed like his model was accurate, it was actually completely smart from the beginning. Here's my big problem.
What?
The FBI lady.
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank. They do some investigating. Most of the money got returned. The rest of the money, question mark, insurance. I'll buy that she's off the case, but why is she in the bar at the end? She's in the bar at the end? What is that supposed to mean?
He's conducting her own undercover sting, I think, because the FBI won't authorize her as an actual agent, so she's camouflaging to maybe.
So she's going to wind up busting them after the movie's over?
Listen, they set it up for Logan Lucky too, I'm assuming. I mean, that ending is all about, I assume, this movie, they think they got away with it, but one woman is still on their trail. Doesn't have the FBI's support in this matter, which is why she's dressed normally and casually trying to fit in just to get the information. I think that was if the movie does well, I'm assuming they're going to pick it up and continue it for a sequel. That's why I thought.
Okay, because I was unclear whether it was that was the implication or whether it was that she actually was somehow in
like a part of it
also, or just didn't care. I don't know, or that she just. She was some kind of hick. Okay, so you're saying that it was a plant that she's not done with the case yet.
Again, it's kind of like what Ocean's 11 did. Remember the end of Ocean's 11? Andy Garcia's 2 bodyguards follow George and Brad out of the parking lot. So it seems like, yes, they've gotten away with it, but they may not be people are still going to be watching them closely just to be sure. So it may not, they may not be completely scot-free. From this experience.
Okay, actually, it makes much more sense, as you say, in the context of being exactly parallel to Ocean's 11, which both helps me and I think and nicely demonstrates your point about that. Yes. Yeah.
I will say though, unlike Ocean's 11 a little bit, the best part in Logan Lucky, that was its own thing, I thought, because it is such a thing that in real life I could see happening. Mm-hmm. But in the prison riot, when the prisoners bar themselves off, and what their demands are is because they want George R.R. Martin to release Game of Thrones.
Yeah, fantastic.
That whole scene, I was laughing so hard because I could totally buy actual people wanting that to happen. Wikipedia says this will come out 2 years ago.
Yeah, it certainly as a pretense to have a strike and to not let it be up to. I mean, I thought that was very good. And I definitely thought that when the fire department shows up and squirts that's one of the funnier parts of the whole movie.
I just thought the go between the guards or the warden and the prisoners about Game of Thrones. I'm just like, God, this is gold.
There's a lot of good moments. Overall, I would say I give it a 7.5. Charming, funny. It never really comes together as oh my God, what a great movie, but just consistently solid all the way through. What'd you think?
Well, you're going to not believe this, but I'm going to exactly agree with you. 7.5 out of 10. Perfect. I think this is the first time this has happened. We agree.
There you go.
History.
There you go, everybody. Well, 7.5s from both Colin and I. Thank you very much for joining us for this inside, what are we called? Inside Voices, first takes on Logan Lucky. We'll see you here next time.